The world of funny car drag racing is unique. The sport is characterized by the fastest cars, crazy stunts, and pretty women, decades before the Fast and the Furious took to the streets. But do you remember when racing was truly wild? When the smell of burning rubber and the roar of engines ruled the strip? No one personified this world better than Jungle Jim and Jungle Pam, the fastest, hottest duo on and off the strip. But behind the thunder of engines and the blinding cameras was a love story racing toward tragedy. This is the rise, the heartbreak, and the untold life of Jungle Pam, the woman who lit up drag racing's golden age and paid the price for living it too fast. To keep fans interested, there's always a performative aspect to the shows, kind of like professional wrestling. The drivers themselves are showy individuals, and women like Jungle Pam highlighted the necessary sex appeal that kept people showing up week after week. First, let's meet him. Russell James Lieberman, better known as Jungle Jim, was a star on the circuit. He started drag racing after dropping out of high school. A friend of his said, quote, "Jim was the king, a hard-ass racer and a great showman. He was a very talented driver, known for his backwards driving skills and, of course, those epic burnouts. He wasn't just a driver. He was a showman who turned every race into a performance." Then there was Jungle Pam. Pamela Hardy, also known as Jungle Pam, was widely known as the drag racing bombshell. She wasn't a driver herself, but she exuded a passion for the sport. And it didn't hurt that she was absolutely stunning. So how did this iconic duo actually meet? Jim was cruising around their hometown of Westchester, Pennsylvania one evening in his yellow '72 Corvette when he spotted Pam. At the time, Pam was in her early 20s, attending college and balancing classes. Jim, already famous in the racing scene, thought she was gorgeous and invited her to a party. He told her all about his life as a drag car racer, the cars, the crowds, the constant travel. And Pam was intrigued. She had never heard of the sport before, but his energy was contagious. She asked if she could accompany him to his next event, and he was smitten that she was taking an interest. Pam was mystified by the spectacle she witnessed, the colorful people, and the even more vibrantly painted cars. Within days, she made a choice that would surprise everyone. Pam dropped out of college to join Jungle Jim's racing team. This caused a lot of tension between Pam and her mother. Pam had been accepted to Westchester State to study business, and her mother did not approve of this funny car lifestyle. Pam's initial job was to place Jungle Jim's car on the starting line, and she did this with great flair. But Pam wasn't content to sit by and just be a drag racing bombshell. No, she learned everything she could about the sport. With the skilled Jungle Jim as her teacher, Pam quickly learned the ropes. This wasn't a side role. She became an essential part of the operation, checking underneath the cars, packing the parachutes, and ensuring the engine had enough oil. Soon, Jungle Pam established a trademark look, a revealing top with no bra. Pam stated that she didn't wear a bra simply because they weren't comfortable, and that the revealing clothes were key to keeping cool on the hot asphalt. But Pam was no fool, and knew full well what her outfits were doing for the publicity of Jim's team and the sport in general. Magazines picked up on it fast, dubbing her Jungle Pam. Soon, people were attending events just to spot the infamous Jungle Pam. She didn't fully realize how popular she was until one day at an airport, a fan raced over and asked for her autograph. To her surprise, it was her own face looking back at her from the cover of a magazine. That was the moment she realized she had become a sex symbol, defining a decade. If you'd like to support the research we do to uncover deep stories like this one, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support means we can continue to bring these untold truths to light. Even though they were the most famous couple in the scene, they still weren't making a ton of money. The sport was too niche and sponsorship deals weren't lucrative. But the real problem was the lifestyle. On the surface, they were drag racing's golden duo. But behind the cameras, their world was volatile. Jim lived like every day was a race. His life revolved around a brutal schedule, more than 100 events a year,
driving thousands of miles between tracks and living out of motels. Pam, who once thought the road life would be exciting, soon realized it was exhausting. Jim's obsession with the sport left little room for anything else. Pam found herself caught between admiration and frustration. There were whispers around the racing circuit about Jim's drinking and rumors of him being unfaithful. Whether the stories were true or not, they took a toll on Pam. She stood by him at every race, smiling for photographers. Pam was always loyal, sometimes to a fault. She wanted to spend the rest of her life with him. At the track, they were a united front, but fans didn't see the quiet arguments behind the trailer. Jungle Jim planned to retire from drag racing and open his own engine repair shop. But sadly, this never happened. On September 9, 1977, the dynamic duo came to an end. Jim Lieberman was killed in a car accident. He wasn't at the track. He was driving his yellow '72 Corvette in his hometown. Witnesses said he was moving fast, trying to pass another car, when he collided head-on with a transit bus. The impact was brutal. It took first responders nearly an hour to get Jim out of the wreckage. The accident took place just 3 days before his 32nd birthday. Pamela Hardy's mother was the one who had to inform her about Jim's tragic death. Obviously, she was devastated. The man who had pulled her into this wild world was gone in an instant. Out of respect for her Jim, Pam never worked with another driver in the funny car scene. She left the world of drag racing quietly. The emotional weight was too heavy. Every sound of an engine felt like reopening a wound. For a while, depression followed her. She wrestled with who she was without Jim and without racing. The fame that once felt exciting now felt like a weight. Pam always had a hard time with relationships. She was married on 2 different occasions. Her first husband was Fred Frey, a funny car owner. Fred was one of the few people who understood what she was going through. But the marriage didn't last. The strain was constant. People still called her Jungle Pam. Every conversation circled back to Jim, and it was impossible for Pam to escape the comparisons. The marriage eventually wore them down. Years later, Pam met Bill Hodgson. Unlike Fred, Bill wasn't part of the racing spotlight. Their relationship developed quietly. He knew her simply as Pam Hardy, a woman who wanted ordinary days. She found peace with him. Today, Pam Hardy is 71 years old and lives a quiet life with her husband, Bill. She never had any children. She's said to be in good health. She does occasionally make appearances as Jungle Pam at conventions and still loves the world of funny car drag racing. But in her opinion, the drag scene isn't as interesting as it used to be. When asked why she never returned, she explained that what she and Jim had could never be repeated. "Our relationship was a flash in the pan, a bolt of lightning," she said. "We were just a one-off deal." Without the original Jim and Pam, the funny car drag scene was never the same, and neither was Pam. If this story from racing's wildest era resonated with you, the best way to support our channel is by hitting that like button. We'd love to hear your memories. What defined that jungle era for you? Was it the cars, the showmanship, or the iconic duo themselves? Please let us know in the comments below. And if you want more deep dives into these forgotten stories, please subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.